Okay, let's think about this for a second. What if we could build a totally new kind of AI? I'm not just talking about one that's faster at crunching data. I mean an AI that's built from the ground up on timeless principles for making better decisions. An AI that's actually designed for, well, for wisdom.
And this is really the core idea behind the whole thing. It's inspired by the investor Ray Dalio, who basically said, principles are like algorithms for dealing with reality. And that's a huge insight, right? Because if the best rules for making decisions are basically just algorithms, well then, we can code them. So, that leads us to this incredible, kind of wild question. What if an AI could actually help you engineer luck? Yeah, I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. But the whole point of this system is to treat luck not as some random mysterious force, but as a real variable. Something you can measure, you can track, and you can actively work to maximize.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about what makes this AI so different. Then, we'll really dive into the principles of its brain, how it thinks. After that, we'll get into the hardware and see how the photon-powered prototype actually works. And finally, we'll pull it all together and talk about why this thing really matters.
Okay, let's jump right into our first section, a new AI for decisions. And really, the big idea here is fusing that timeless human wisdom we've been talking about with some seriously next-gen computing.
All right, on to section 2, the principles of its brain. This is where it gets really interesting. So how does this AI actually think? Let's pop the hood and take a look.
So, the brain of this AI basically has two different modes of thinking. Think of it this way. First, you've got deterministic thinking. This is like having a perfect map with a set route. It uses clear cause and effect rules. But then, you've got probabilistic thinking. This is more like having a compass in a forest you've never been in before. It's all about navigating uncertainty. And the real genius of this AI is that it knows exactly when it needs to put down the map and pick up the compass.
And it's not just about map versus compass. This AI is also designed to understand the rhythms of reality. You know how progress isn't always a straight line, right? Sometimes it's cyclical, like economic booms and busts. Other times it's linear, like learning a new skill step by step. The AI tracks both of these, so it can tell if a situation is all about riding a wave of momentum or if it's about slow, steady, incremental growth.
So, you might be wondering, how does it know when to switch between these thinking styles? This is so cool. It uses a tool that comes straight out of chaos theory, called logistic mapping. The easiest way to think about it is like an early warning system. It's constantly monitoring everything, and it can actually detect when a predictable, stable system is about to tip over into chaos. And that's the signal. That's when it knows, okay, time to drop the map and grab the compass.
And believe it or not, all of this super complex thinking, it all boils down to one elegant, powerful formula. Luck equals preparation times opportunity. That's it. Preparation is all the knowledge and skills you've built up. Opportunity is how well you can see what's coming down the pike. The AI's entire job, really, is to just constantly push both sides of that equation up.
But it doesn't stop there. The AI is also constantly thinking ahead and learning from the past. For one, it models what we call second-order consequences. So it's not just asking what happens next, it's asking, and what happens after that, and after that. It's playing chess, not checkers. It also does this amazing thing called counterfactual regret. Basically, it simulates the paths it didn't take to see if another choice would have been better. It's like having a time machine to learn from mistakes you never even made, so it's always refining its strategy. And here's another piece of built-in wisdom that I think is just brilliant. It's called the Sabbath principle. Just like it sounds, the system is programmed with a weekly cycle where it has to stop, it has to pause, analyze how it's been doing, and then proactively adjust its strategy for the week ahead. It's not just designed to run on autopilot, it's designed to reflect.
Okay, that was the theory. Now for section 3, let's get our hands dirty. Metaphorically, of course. We're talking about the photon-powered prototype. So we've talked about the why and the how in software. Now let's see how you actually build this thing. And you know what's wild? You can build a basic version of this in a garage. Here's the recipe. You start with some low-cost laser diodes or LEDs to create a grid of light. Then, you use photodiodes to capture the patterns in that light and turn them into electrical signals. A simple microcontroller, we're talking something like an Arduino, reads those signals. And for the output? It could be as simple as a few LEDs that blink to show you your current luck index. How cool is that? Okay, so that's the hardware. But what's running on it? Well, it's a pretty sophisticated software stack, layered on top of each other.
At the bottom, you have the core reasoning algorithms. That's the brain. On top of that, you have a tracker and predictor, which are constantly logging your preparation and forecasting opportunity. Then there's the luck engine, calculating that core formula in real time. Above that, the simulator and learner, modeling consequences and minimizing that regret we talked about. And capping it all off, you've got that all-important Sabbath layer, handling the weekly reflection and recalibration.
All right, last section. This is the big one. Why this AI matters. We've talked about the what and the how, but what about the so what? What's the actual payoff for building a machine this wise?
Well, the potential applications are just incredibly broad. Think about it. For investing, it could help guide where to put your money, your time, or your energy. Or what about for your own personal productivity? It could literally tell you when it's time to buckle down and do deep work, that's preparation, versus when you should be out networking and looking for new projects, that's opportunity. You could use it to optimize energy grids, or even, and this is huge, use it to build better AI governance systems with transparent, rules-based decision-making.
So where does this all go? What's the roadmap? Well, right now, we're at the garage scale experiment phase. But in the near term, the goal is to move from DIY hardware to actual integrated photonic chips. In the midterm, the vision is to expand this into a whole networked ecosystem of these AIs working together. And the long-term vision? This is where it gets really mind-bending. We're talking about incorporating dreamlike phases, where the AI could replay scenarios in its sleep to reinforce learning and maybe even foster a kind of machine creativity.
And that brings us to the final, really crucial question here. This whole project, at its heart, is about embedding a completely different kind of thinking into our technology. So I want to leave you with this thought. How would our world really, truly change if our most powerful systems were built not just for short-term answers, but for genuine, long-term wisdom?